Hi there, my name is Emily Esposito, and I will be going over the topic of prevention of food allergies in children via early introduction. An individual can be allergic to any food. However, the top 9 allergens include wheat, dairy, soy, peanuts, tree nuts, sesame, eggs, fish, and shellfish. Earlier introductions of allergens, even at ages 4 to 6 months after the first introductions of solid foods, decreases the rate of overall allergens later in life for the child. Interestingly, there are also science and studies behind the mother consuming allergens while pregnant and breastfeeding with her child. These small increments of the allergen being introduced to the child via the umbilical cord and the breast milk can also decrease the rate of allergies in the future for the child. With all this talk of allergen introduction, I want to start discussing how exactly allergen introduction should be done. Once the child has established skills with food and has tried multiple non-allergen foods, it is then safe to begin very small portions of allergen introduction. However, to note, we don't want to try allergen foods if there are any reactions to non-allergen foods. You want to talk to the pediatrician if there are any reactions to non-allergen foods before starting allergen foods. An allergic reaction could look very different for each child. However, symptoms include diarrhea, rash, vomiting, hives, itchy or swelling mouth, coughing, runny nose, or trouble breathing and swallowing. If you see any of these signs and symptoms, call 911 immediately. However, prevention is key. Early intervention and early introduction of allergens will reduce the risk of any allergic reactions, so we want to introduce. Avoidance is the worst thing we can do. We want to ensure each allergen is catered to what the baby can handle. For example, when introducing peanuts, we would not simply give a child peanut butter on a spoon. This could be an issue because peanut butter can stick to the roof of their mouth, and this is a major choking hazard for babies. However, something that you can do with peanut butter specifically is microwave it, thin it out, and add it to a baby's cereal. I specifically recommend a peanut butter or nut butter with very minimal ingredients. This ensures that the baby is not getting too many things all at once, so we know if they have an allergic reaction, it is specifically to peanuts. We want to make sure to introduce one allergen at a time and ensure one full 24-hour cycle before introducing it again. This ensures that we know that no reaction has happened for a full 24 hours. It's a great idea to work with your pediatrician on a plan of how to introduce allergens. They're here for you and for your child, so working with them can be a great way to introduce allergens. To summarize, allergies are a chronic condition with abnormal reactions to everyday foods or items within the air. Not everyone has allergies, however, some people do and are more sensitive than others. Current guidelines recommend that babies be introduced to allergens at 6 months, depending on developmental stage. It is also important that mothers do not change their diet during pregnancy or lactation so that the babies can get allergens through their mother's milk and through the umbilical cord during pregnancy. Most importantly, we discussed how an allergen should be introduced to a child on a very small scale, one allergen at a time, and after they have started their first solid foods and have had no reactions to anything else prior. If there are only a couple of things that you remember to introduce only one food or one allergen at a time, to not overwhelm the child, and to always modify the texture to the child's ability. There are great online resources. Specifically, foodallergy.org is a fantastic resource, and they have resources for parents that are introducing allergens to their children for the very first time. So I highly recommend you check them out. They're a fantastic resource. Thank you so much for watching my video on prevention of food allergies in children via early intervention.